It's time to go over the biggest winners and losers of the NBA draft last night. Spurs fans are our first winners. You drafted Victor Wembanyama. I don't even know if they drafted anybody else. They might have drafted someone in the second round. They did not get anybody else in the first round. But with the first pick, they got Victor Wembanyama. That's all you needed to do. That's all you needed to happen at the NBA draft last night. Once that happened, you could turn the TV off. And everybody knew it was going to happen. It's been known for at least 2 months or whatever they decided that the Spurs get the first pick. If they would have messed that up, the whole world would be in revolt against the Spurs. There was no one even close to Victor's talent. No one even close. They're saying he's the best prospect since LeBron James. So congrats, Spurs. You're the first winner. One of the biggest losers of last night was the Magic. I don't understand the Magic at all. You draft Anthony Black at number 6, who is a point guard. And then you also have the 11th pick. You have the 6th and 11th pick. You're looking good for the draft at the beginning. You're looking good. The 6th pick, it's a little weird. You draft Anthony Black. So we're like, okay, we'll see what you do at 11. And then at 11, you draft another guard at Jet Howard. And now we're thinking, you must be stupid. You have Markelle Fultz. You have Jalen Suggs. You have Cole Anthony. And now you have 2 other guards. Where are your forwards? You have Franz Wagner. But that's it. That's all you have at forward. At center, you got Bol, Wendell Carter. I would have rather improved in those areas than the point guard position. I feel like Markelle Fultz was just getting his footing in Orlando. I've been seeing that they might explore trades for Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. So you got to do that now. You got to trade Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony now. I don't know who's going to want him, but you got to trade him now because you just drafted 2 other guards. So that was a huge L last night. That was a huge L in my opinion. I don't know what the Magic were thinking. And now a team I don't necessarily think are winners, but I also don't think that they're losers. And I think that's the Charlotte Hornets. I don't like Brandon Miller at number 2. I would have wanted Scoot. I don't understand why you don't draft Scoot. I think he has much more upside than Brandon Miller. And it's not like you didn't want to add another guard because at 27 you added Nick Smith Jr. I mean he could be good, maybe, but he's nothing like Scoot. You get Amari Bailey with the 41st pick. I mean, we all know him from high school, but yet again, there's another guard. So I don't know why you didn't go for Scoot. I don't understand it at all. The Houston Rockets are a big dub for me. A big dub. You got Amen Thompson at number 4, who, in my opinion, is the better of the Thompson twins. So you did good there. I'm not high on Overtime Elite, but they must have shown some good promise in their interviews and their team workouts. So I'm fine with that. But the big thing that sealed the deal for the Rockets was Cam Whitmore at 20. That's a huge steal. He was a top 5 prospect. He could have gone 4. He could have gone 5. But he slid all the way to 20. I don't know why it was. People were saying it was his interviews that he did with teams and his workouts that he did with teams. And I was watching the draft with a friend last night, and he was talking about how he has a more quiet demeanor, like Kawhi maybe. So maybe that kind of just threw teams off a little bit. But regardless, Cam Whitmore at 20 is such a steal. He was a top 5 prospect going into this draft. Top 5. People thought he was going to go 5 or 4. So that's a very big win for Houston. And you got him at 20, so it's not like you could have gotten someone else that is clearly above him. Cam Whitmore has so much potential. But if he doesn't end up doing well, I mean, you still got him at 20, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, on the flip side, I'm giving the Detroit Pistons an L. I'm not high on Ausar Thompson. He's not good offensively. I mean, he's athletic and he can attack. But I don't really know if that translates from overtime to the NBA. He doesn't have a jumper. He's better on defense than his brother, which is a plus. But if I were the Pistons, I would have gone someone else. They got Marcus Sasser at 25. I mean, that's all right. You traded up for him. So you must have saw something in him. But I just didn't really like any of Detroit's picks. I didn't like them. I think the Utah Jazz were another big W last night. They got Taylor Hendricks at 9. Very good stretch big. He's a great shooter. He can attack. He's not the best attacker, but he's got an amazing jump shot. He shot like 40% from 3 in college. With the 16th pick, they got Keontae George. Maybe he could have got someone else, but I still like the pick. He's a good guard, can create shots. He's pretty explosive. Not the most explosive guard in the draft, obviously, with Scoot being down there. And then they also got Bryce Sensabaugh, who's an amazing shooter. Shot over 40% from 3 in college. Averaged like 16 points. I think the Jazz did exactly what they needed to with the 3 picks that they had. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, nothing over the top. They didn't stretch for a pick like Orlando did with Jet Howard. They did what they needed to do and they got it done. So in my book, the Utah Jazz did everything right. Great job for them. Draft-wise, the Trailblazers were a dub. Franchise-wise, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So in the draft, you get Scoot Henderson. He fell to 3. Amazing. Scoot Henderson, high on him. I think he's going to be the best player in the draft. I think he's going to be better than Victor Wembanyama. But, that's just an opinion. And you got Chris Murray, who is basically his brother Keegan. Not as good, obviously. You got him at 23. But he's good defensively. He's got the fundamentals down. Not the best three-point shooter. His jumper's it needs some work. But on the flip side, you drafted Scoot, you drafted Chris. Dame's gone. He talked about how he didn't want to play with a new team. He didn't want to play with youngsters. Scoot kind of did some... He tried to get Dame... He tried to persuade Dame a little bit when he got drafted yesterday. Talking about how they would be unstoppable if they played together. But I don't think Dame's going to want to stay. I think they're going to trade him. Brian Windhorst talked about yesterday how there's many teams lining up if the Blazers pick at 3 are going to go and get Dame. So I don't know how you're feeling, Troy Blazers fans. It's difficult. You got Scoot, who could be your new franchise player, but you lost your old franchise player in Damian Lillard. And now it's time for a little rant. Because another big loser of this NBA draft last night was the Minnesota Timberwolves. My Minnesota Timberwolves. Why didn't you trade Cap? Why did you not trade Cap for the 3rd pick? You could have done it. I bet you could have done it. Why did you not trade for Scoot? We had like 1 draft pick last night, and it was the 53rd. He's not going to play. I'll watch him in Summer League maybe, but he's not going to play. Why didn't you make any moves? We had 1 draft pick, and it was the 2nd round. Pick 53. Trade Cat, please. I know that they just came out saying that they're not trading Cat anymore. They're not even thinking about it. But why not? Why not? Please, just do it. Oh, my gosh. The Wizards, I guess, were a W last night. They got Bilal Koulibaly from France. They traded up to get him. Yesterday, they traded Chris Paul for Jordan Poole, which Warriors side makes no sense. Warriors had an L day yesterday. They had an L day. I don't even know the guy that they drafted. I've never even heard of him, but maybe he's gonna be good. But back to the Wizards. So you got Jordan Poole. You could have drafted anyone, and they would have been a starter on your team. I don't even know what the Wizards lineup's looking like. What, Jordan Poole at the 1, maybe Monte Morris at the 1, Jordan Poole at the 2, Corey Kispert at 3, Bilal at the 4. Have no idea what centers you have. I have no idea. You got rid of Porzingis, got rid of Bradley Beal. You got rid of Chris Paul, even though I know he wasn't going to stay with the Wizards, so you might as well trade him. But you could have drafted anyone and they would have started. So I guess good on drafting Bilal. He has major upside. He's a very high risk, high reward type player because we don't know much about him. He was kind of under the shadow of Victor because they played on the same team in France. So you never know. He could be great. He could be great, but your team isn't going to be good for the next 4 years because you traded everything away. So that there's the Wizards for you. So as I just said, the Pacers and Wizards traded. They swapped picks. They were right next to each other. And the Pacers traded for Jarace Walker, forward out of Houston. He looks good. Pacers could use him. Pacers need a lot of forwards, I guess. They have Tyrese at point, Miles Turner at center, so I guess they need the things in between. I think that's a great pick. I think that's a great pick for the Pacers. He's a bigger forward. He's pretty big. He's built. So I like that pick for the Pacers. I'm not gonna say it's a dub, but by no means is it an L. So it's just another mid type pick. This is a little anecdote, but I think a lot of people were wondering where he would go. Imani Bates. He was the number one prospect 2 years ago, and then got charged with a felony. Started playing for Eastern Michigan, a team no one cares about. He got drafted 53 to the Cavs. It might be 53. It was in the 50s, but it was to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that was their only draft pick of last night, and they decided to use it on Imani Bates. I mean, it's high risk. High reward. Not really high risk because you picked him at 53, so I'm not going to say it's a risk. But it is high reward. You never know. Isaiah Thomas was last pick, and he turned out to be good for a couple of years. Maybe Imani Bates can do the same thing. Nothing else really that crazy happened last night. I'll just go over some of the picks. Oklahoma City Thunder got Cason Wallace at 10. They traded with the Mavs. Mavs got Derek Lively, a center, which they desperately needed. Grady Dick went to Toronto. I think that's a great fit. 14, New Orleans got Jordan Hawkins. I'm surprised that the New Orleans didn't trade Zion or something. They've been talking about it for a while. I'm surprised they didn't make any moves last night. They could have traded Zion for a much better pick. Number 15. Number 14 isn't that great. Number 15, you have the Hawks, who got Kobe Buffkin. He plays exactly like Jordan Poole from what I've seen. So if he can turn into a Jordan Poole, that's great. The Hawks didn't really need a guard. They have DeJounte Murray. They got Trae Young. LA got Jalen Hood-Schifino. Don't really know much about him. Miami got Jaime Jaquez. He's an older player, but he don't need young players. So I think that's a great pick. That's a dub for Miami. Nets, they had 2 back-to-back picks. Noah Clowney, Dariq Whitehead. Nets need everything that they can get. There were possibly talks that teams wanted Mikal Bridges from the Nets last night. I think the Trailblazers said that they would trade their number 3 pick for Mikal Bridges, but the Nets said no. That's an interesting type of trade. I think I would have done it. I think I would have traded the number 3 pick for Mikal if I were the Nets, because, you're kind of starting over. I don't know. The Nets are kind of a stagnant team right now. They're not a team that you think can win it all, but they're also not a team that are going to tank. They're just kind of average right now. LA Clippers got Kobe Brown at 30. The last pick in the draft went to the Bucks. Chris Livingston. Maybe he can make a name for himself. You never know. Last pick in the draft. Anything crazy? Something crazy could happen. You never know. So I guess that's the draft for you. Big headlines. Cam Whitmore dropped to 20. Orlando, I thought, had a horrible draft. Imani Bates to the Cavs. And my Minnesota Timberwolves did nothing. So Great night.